success with well over 1,000 clients. Okay, your body cleans out the garbage, no more hypertension. Same thing with type 2 diabetes, with almost everything. Our bodies are meant to function at an incredible level. Okay, if you're willing to do what you need to do, you can feel and function better than you have for a long time, maybe ever. Okay, so this is intended to be short, but I wanted you guys to understand, if you're not feeling and functioning as well as you could, don't give up hope. Okay, there's a way to get there if you're willing to do what you need to. It's an incredible experience, and it's amazing what happens because, well, I'll share something with you that it blows people away. We started measuring people's hydration level using a $500 device invented for that purpose. Almost 19 years ago, 18 and a half years ago. We've now measured almost 7,000 people. Almost everybody is severely dehydrated. Okay, now I'll tell you a couple things, because I know what's going on out there, the trends and so forth. The most dehydrated people we see every single session, we'll have about 30 people at a time fasting. The most dehydrated people we see are the people who have a dry fasting habit. Okay, people who dry fast make themselves severely dehydrated. They think they're healing themselves because the body cannot detoxify without water. Okay, whether it's through the urinary tract, the colon, the skin, the breath, or the mucous membranes, nothing leaves the body without sufficient water. They make themselves dehydrated enough, there's no detoxification, they think, oh, I'm all better. Okay, dehydration leads to early death. Okay, hydration is the single most important thing. We measure all kinds of things with our clients every day. I've got a doctor on staff, a nurse, and a physician's assistant. And the most important thing we measure, in my opinion, is hydration levels. Okay? The only way to get hydrated is to get this old garbage out of the body. What happens when you get hydrated is everything changes. Okay, now this is a pretty young group, so most of you probably aren't too concerned about aging, but most of what we think of as normal aging is actually chronic dehydration, including wrinkles, joint problems, loss of vision. Macular degeneration is the #1 age-related cause of vision loss. Okay, shrinking, right? Compression of the spine. All these things happen because people are severely, chronically dehydrated. And we can change that. Okay, when you change it, it's amazing what happens. One more piece around hydration, which is kind of scary. Science tells us if your brain is 2% dehydrated, your cognitive function drops by 20%. And the average person is much more than 2% dehydrated.
Wow.
20% loss of cognitive ability. Okay? So I'm really grateful to be able to be here with you guys today, to be able to share something with you. I'm so grateful for all the people who continue to come to Tanglewood, because it means I don't have to get a job. I mean, I spend my time doing the thing I do if I didn't need any money. We charge, right? I've got 22 staff, and it's expensive to run the facility, but it's what I'd do anyway, because it's amazing to see what happens for people. Okay, it's an incredible thing. I'm staying right now with ocean view in a house that a client of mine who's fasted with me 8 times said, take it for the month, it's yours. Okay, and it's the 5th client's house I've been in the last year. Okay, where they said, you can stay as long as you want. Okay, because these people are grateful to have back their health and function. Okay, I don't want to go too long because I know this is a party today, but I'll take a few questions if there's any questions.
What kind of, is it juice fasting? Is it water fasting?
Okay, thank you. So the question was, is this juice fasting or water fasting? It's water only fasting. To be clear, fasting means complete abstinence from calories and nutrients. So if you're drinking juices,
Juice feast.
it's a feast, it's not a fast. You could live on juices for the rest of your life if you wanted to. I wouldn't recommend it, okay? But you could do that, okay? We need fiber. There's essential nutrients bound up in the fiber, and our gut biome, which is 10 trillion bacteria that live in your intestine, feed on fiber, okay? So you don't want to live on juices. But this is water only fasting. We take no supplements, there's no electrolytes, it's only water. If you introduce anything, a single nutrient, your body says, oh, there's food coming, and sends a third of your energy to your digestive tract.
What kind of water?
So we use spring water, which bubbles up out of the ground right on site. It's one of the reasons why we are where we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is mucoid plaque real?
Is mucoid plaque real?
Yes.
So how many of you know what mucoid plaque is?
Yeah.
If you're not familiar with the word mucoid plaque is Pop-Tarts and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and Cheerios and donuts and all the things you've ever eaten that weren't high in water and fiber. Okay? Every time you eat anything that's not high in water and fiber, some little bit of it gets stuck in your body. According to a Danish paper published 6 or 7 years ago, their participants were between 25 and 50. They found the average person had between 11 and 22 pounds of this material stuck in their body. We see it with every client who follows directions. Every session there's someone who says, I can't drink that much water. And if you don't hydrate it, it's not leaving your body. Or you better hope it doesn't try to. Okay? Because that wouldn't be any fun. All right? Yeah. How much water do I want them to drink each day? That's a great question. Whatever they need. But let me clarify. They don't determine that. We do. Let me tell you a very quick story. I fasted a young law student from Amsterdam about 4 years ago, 5 years ago. It was life-changing for him. He'd been depressed. He was low in energy. I mean, he was having a rough time. So he fasted 21 days with me, changed his life. A year later, he comes back to me and says, online, I want to do this again. And we set it all up. And the last minute he says, but I disagree with you about how much water we should be drinking. So if it's okay with you, this time, I'm just going to drink when I'm thirsty. I said, not okay with me. If you're not going to take coaching on this, I can't guide you through the process. So he took himself through the fast. He did it on his own. I didn't hear from him for another year. At which point he told me that he wound up in the hospital with 3% kidney function because of dehydration. He was in the hospital for 3 months at the age of 26, almost died. He came back to me and said, I'm an idiot, not me, him. He said, I'm an idiot, I wish I'd listened to you. I want to fast again to heal my kidneys. Will you take me if I take your coaching? I said, yeah, if you'll follow coaching, no problem. So I took him through another 21-day fast, and 3 months later, he had a scan, and they said he had 100% kidney function.
Oh, wow.
Okay? Your body is meant to heal. In fact, healing is a biological process. And what that means is that only your body can heal your body. Okay? Drugs can't heal you. They're toxic substances that poison you, and they suppress symptoms. Okay? Herbs are toxic substances, and I know I'm going to step on some toes here. And this is my truth, okay? Only the body can heal the body. We have a lot of people who come to us, they've been using herbs for years. Some of them say, I couldn't afford it anymore. So they're spending hundreds of dollars a month on these herbs. They stop taking them, all the symptoms come back. They were suppressing the symptoms, okay? They fast long enough, symptoms are gone. Okay, I take 0 herbs, 0 supplements. Okay, I eat fruit and leafy greens. Every once in a while, raw vegan pizza. But not too often, because I don't feel as good when I do it. Okay, yes sir.
I have an executive function problem heart
If I had two, I'd give you one.
I like that. I will take it. I won't mind it. But the changes that I did make, it did increase the function.
It improved, yeah.
I can still see that I'm still not.
Okay, so there's approximately a 100% chance that you could dramatically improve your heart function, because we see that with every client in a similar situation. I can't promise you, I can never promise anyone that you can heal that specific condition completely, because each body is different. Now, we have clients sometimes who come to us and they've been told they've got 3 weeks to live. And they say to me, can fasting heal me? And I say, I don't know. It's difficult at this stage. It's often late stage cancer, for instance. That's difficult to do. It's not impossible. We have stage 4 patients healing all the time, but not everyone. Okay? You can guarantee it will get better. Probably much better. Okay. Yeah.
So how do you determine each person? Yeah.
Water
how
water
much
intake.
Water
Yeah, so coming back to the water, how do we determine? I figured out 25 years ago that I could interpret the vital signs. So every day we measure your blood pressure, your pulse, your temperature, your blood oxygen saturation, your blood sugar, your muscle mass, body fat, water in the body, and weight. And I figured out how to interpret those numbers to understand whether you're getting enough water or not. Okay, that's how we determine.
So how much each person?
Let me clarify. So I can't look at your numbers today and say, oh, this means you need 4.5 liters.
Yeah.
What I can do is, we ask you to keep track of how much you drink. So I can look at your numbers and say, based on this, you didn't get enough yesterday. You drank 4.5. Let's try 5 liters today.
Okay.
Most people start out needing 4 liters. Some people more. And most people get to the point, and again, my clients are fasting 21 to 40 days most of the time. They get to the point where they're drinking anywhere between 6 and 8 liters a day, sometimes more. Don't let that scare you, okay?
Wouldn't that mathematically determine how big you are, how tall you are?
It's a good question. Question was, wouldn't it depend on how big you are? Yes, but not necessarily in the way you'd imagine, okay? So we fast people often who are dramatically underweight. They can't put on healthy weight. And the reason for that usually is because, and I get to say this in public, we're the kids, okay? They're so full of shit, they're not assimilating anything. There's so much old material in there, they're not absorbing nutrients through their intestine.
Wow.
Okay? I've seen this over and over again. I mean, it's crazy, but it's the skinny people, the really, really skinny people. Okay, we just had a woman who was 5'7", 99 pounds when she started. She fasted for 30 days. She had 318 bowel movements
Wow.
in 33 days of refeeding. That's almost 10 every day. This is stuff she'd been collecting. She's only 27 years old. Okay?
Crazy.
Wow.
If you're older than that, you might have more than that in your body. Okay? So when someone is very lean like that, as we metabolize fat, the body produces perfect water. Okay? But when someone is very, very skinny, okay, I had a woman who was 5'7" and 88 pounds. Okay? And she fasted 21 days. The average person will lose 21 pounds in 21 days. It's not a pound per day. It's 11 pounds the first week, and 7 pounds the second week, and 3 pounds the third. And it sounds insane that it would be consistent. It's really consistent. The only time it's not consistent is if you are carrying a lot of excess weight, and then you lose weight much faster than average, because your intelligent body says, finally, I can unload all this garbage weight, all this excess weight. And so the metabolism stays high and they burn weight off much faster. Okay? I've had clients lose 100 pounds in 5 or 6 weeks with me when they were morbidly obese. People who are very lean, like the woman I just told you about, 5'7", 88 pounds, she lost 40% as much as the average person. Just under 9 pounds in 21 days, okay, instead of 21 pounds. So because she's burning fat much more slowly than the average person, her body's not making much water. She has to drink it all. Okay, the guy who's 350 pounds, he's burning 3.5 pounds per day. His body is making a lot of water. He may need less than the person who weighs 1/4 as much as he does. So it's not exactly what you'd expect it to be. Okay, yeah.
Is there a protocol as far as how you have your clients drink water? Because 8 liters, that's a lot of water. I mean, how do you like, how and then
It's a full-time job.
chuck it or?
Yeah, so thank you, because I was just about to say this and got sidetracked. Sipping is absolutely critical, okay? If you take one thing away from this only, okay, aside from the fact that I'm incredibly attractive,
Yeah.
that's a given. That's a given. The other thing you want to be clear about is that you must sip water slowly, because if you drink it quickly, if you drink it faster, your kidneys can process it, you pee it out, and you lose electrolytes with it. And when you're eating, I mean, some of you have guzzled water every day of your life, but if you're eating 3 to 5 times a day, you're still here because you're replacing those electrolytes with every meal. Okay, when you're doing 21 to 42 days without food, you need to make sure you're not flushing out your electrolytes. Okay, so you sip water no more than 16 ounces per hour, slowly over the course of the hour. So if it's 16 ounces an hour, it's 8 ounces in 30 minutes, and 4 ounces in 15, and 2 ounces in 7.5, and 1 ounce every 3 3/4, and you understand what I'm saying. Okay? That's really important to do. As long as you do it that way, theoretically, if you didn't sleep, you could drink 12 liters a day. But I'd encourage you to sleep. Yeah.
I'm wondering, do you recommend for people who are like just into it, would you recommend them doing like 28 days right away, or would you say?
Okay, it's a great question. The question was, for people who are new to this, do I recommend them doing 28 days right away? No, you should wait at least 5 or 6 minutes, and then you can do the 28. So here's the thing, your body knows exactly what to do. The personality, the ego doesn't know, okay? And that's why it's important that you have someone guiding you through the process. But of the more than 1,000 people I've guided for 6 weeks or longer, you ready for this? My longest client fast was a young man. He was 29 years old. He had stage 4 testicular cancer. He fasted for 18.5 weeks. Wow. That's 4.5 months. Wow. When he was done, there was no trace of cancer. Okay? Wow. Now, if you're not morbidly obese, you might not want to try fasting for 4.5 months. Okay? A lot of us wouldn't survive that process. Okay? But virtually everybody here could do between 6 and 8 weeks, even those people who are relatively lean. Okay? Because again, what happens when you're lean is you go through your reserves more slowly. So I had a guy who was 6 feet tall, 125 pounds, fast nearly 8 weeks with me. Okay? Yeah.
After the fasting, can you take us on how it looks, the refeeding, how the refeeding?
The question is, what does the refeeding process look like? So we start you with very small meals every couple hours the first day. There are 5 meals the first day. Now it's only the first day at Tanglewood. We have watermelon, papaya, and fresh coconuts 12 months of the year. Okay? So those are the only 3 things we offer the first day, because they're all high in water and very easy to digest. You're going to choose one of them for the whole day. Every 2 hours it's a small meal. The second day, more, twice as much. Every 2.5 hours, 5 times. The third day we go to 4 meals. Again, it doubles in size, and then it grows a little more slowly after that. It's a very gradual process. By the end of the week, let's say if you do 21 days, which is the minimum I recommend, and I'll tell you why. It takes the body 10 to 11 days to be fully into the deepest part of the process. Just 10 to 11 days to get there. So we book by the week. If you come for 2 weeks, you can fast for 11 days. You're just getting to that part of the process. If you spend 3 weeks with us, you can fast 16. You've got 5 to 6 days in that part of the process. If you come for 4 weeks, you've got roughly twice as much time in the deepest part of the process. It's a lot more powerful. Okay? So if you do 4 weeks with us, you'll have 7 days worth feeding. For most people, by day 5, you feel amazing. They're working out, they're getting their strength back by the time they leave. Most people have never felt that. Okay? People who are very, very lean or very weak, don't have a lot of muscle mass, it's going to take them longer. Okay? They might still be a bit weak when they leave us, but it comes back. Yes, sir.
Oh, during the water fasting, what do you recommend? Soda?
Okay, it's a great question. When you're doing the fast, what do I recommend for sodium? What I recommend is the sodium that's already in your body.
You don't add salt to anything?
No, you missed it just a minute ago. If you add any nutrients of any kind, your body thinks there's food coming. Okay? Our largest competitors here in California, True North, up above San Francisco, they give their clients electrolytes. They're not actually fasting because they're never in fasting physiology. There's a whole host of physiological changes that occur when there's no nutrients at all. Now think about this. Again, I know this is controversial because so many people out there say, oh, you have to have new electrolytes. Again, I don't know anybody else who's guided as many people through the process as I have. We never give our clients electrolytes. We don't ever have problems. That's not true. It's very rare for someone to have an electrolyte problem, except for in very specific circumstances that we're looking out for. Okay?
Do you
So
test?
the question was, do we test? We can test if we think we need to.
And
We
what if
don't
somebody's
normally
low?
test.
What if someone's low in iodine or like electrolytes?
Well, so everybody has to test. We're not worried about iodine.
or electrolytes.
What we're worried about is sodium, potassium, and chloride levels at the beginning of the process. And the reason why is because if your sodium, potassium, or chloride is way out of range, there are some side effects which are generally considered negative, like your heart might stop. Okay? I think that's usually not a good thing. Right. But what we found is that as long as we test everyone before they start, we actually have them do it before they come, 4 weeks before. Because if they're too low, I'll help them bring those levels up. As long as they start with the levels where they should be, they've been fine. Okay, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay? Yeah.
For someone that might be in a life situation where I can't commit time-wise or financially to doing that, where can I start today, right here, right now?
Okay.
Is there even a way? Is there a bridge in between, or is it
Well-
all or nothing kind of thing?
All or nothing, man. You don't belong here. What is wrong with you?
That's a different conversation.
Life is busy. A lot of people have a similar situation. So the first thing that everyone can do is they can increase their water intake and make sure they're sipping. Okay? Replace other drinks with water as much as you're willing to. Okay? Take dry foods out of your diet as much as you can. Make your diet as close to 100% raw as possible. If you're not doing that, that's an easy thing to change. And by the way, let me change that. It's a simple thing to change. It may not be easy for some people, okay? But it is something everyone can do, and something you can do right now. Now, I'll be honest, when people say to me, it sounds great, but I can't do that. Okay, what I'll say to them is, I get it, okay? When you're ready to commit to your health, let me know. Because here's the truth about it. We find a way to do anything we want to do. If you want it, you figure out how. Okay? And listen, I get it completely. I've been in many times in my life in places where I couldn't have done it either. It got to a point for me, I basically gave up a business because I needed to take care of my health. And that was more important to me than anything else. And it still is.
Woo! Because once you go have it,
Come to you and then you.
People are exercising during their fast. How do they keep their electrolytes up?
Yeah, it's a good question. If people are exercising during their fast, how do they keep their electrolytes up? They probably don't, and this is why they shouldn't be moving any more than necessary. Has anyone ever seen a cat or dog get sick enough to refuse to eat?
Yeah.
What does it do?
Chill.
Lays down.
Just lays there, doesn't do anything. Okay? Fasting is about resting as completely as possible. So you definitely don't want to exercise while you're fasting. Not an extended therapeutic fast. Okay, daily fast, yeah, I had breakfast about an hour ago. I had one piece of watermelon today and a little sample of your durian smoothie. That's what I've eaten so far today. As you can see, I don't have any energy. Okay, I've lost all my strength. I can't think clearly. See, when people don't eat and feel bad, it's not because they need food. It's because the lack of food allows them to begin detoxifying. Once you get your body clean, it's not a problem. Okay? All right, there was a question right here.
I was actually going to say that guy had his hand raised.
You had your hand up.
Okay, never mind. I ended a fast on my own. 3 days. Then I water. To go to 5 days. By the end of my 5-day fast, I had acid reflux and hiccups that were I'd never done anything beyond 3 days prior to that, so I went to 5 days. What are some of the side effects that you experience as a Is that common?
Okay, it's a great question. So this question is, he fasted for 3 days and then did 2 days of coconut water, and he had symptoms. Okay, he was hiccuping, he had acid reflux, and so this is the other critical. Thank you so much, because this is a piece I needed to say and forgot to say. Okay, everybody interacts with symptoms like they're the problem, right? Most people think if they have no symptoms, they're well. Okay, symptoms are evidence your body is cleansing or healing or attempting to. So when you fast, when you get out of your body's way and let it do what it needs to do, you're going to have symptoms. Those symptoms can include the entire universe of possible symptoms. Cold symptoms, flu symptoms, headaches, bellyaches, nausea, fever. It just depends on what your body needs to accomplish. It's different for each person. Okay? This is why it's important to have someone guiding you through the process who understands the process. Okay? Because I can say to you, RJ, it's okay, no worries. Okay? You're fine. Or not, if that's the case. Okay? Yeah.
I've done a handful, I'm trying to remember, at least 2 or 3, maybe more, 10 days.
You've done these on your own without my assistance. Okay. So that's illegal, but I'm not going to tell anybody, all right? Not this time.
But I never got to the place.
Right.
I've done dry fasting for 7 days. I've done 41 days juice fasting. Like
Okay.
I think I've done like 10 fasts. Every
Right.
year I must be doing a fast.
Right?
And I will say with the water fasting, I never felt, wow, I feel better. So I don't know if it's just I was so busy with my kids, because we have 3 kids and life is moving. But I would drink the water.
How long did you fast for?
10 days for sure, but I'm trying to remember.
So 10, remember,
Yes, you said 10 to 11 days. is
that's where you get to the deepest part of the process. Okay? You need to do at least 21 days.
So do you feel like, I know you're not, like, I feel like I could do it on my own. I feel like I could because I've done so many fasts.
That's a belief, not a feeling. It's an erroneous belief. I mean, you would survive the process. Most of you would survive the process.
Okay.
The question is, do you want to get as much benefit as you can,
Correct.
and you want to keep yourself as safe as possible?
Correct.
Okay?
So-
It's always best to have experienced guidance.
Do you guys do guidance from a distance versus
Yes.
going? Because that's what's hard.
Yes.
When we went to Costa Rica, it was amazing. Like, the
So-
facility is so beautiful out there. There's like a beautiful pool.
Can everyone hear what she's saying?
Yeah.
What facility was beautiful?
Your facility in Costa Rica, and it's like out in the, like, it was hard to find it at first, you know, driving out there. There's like a big door, or I don't know, something to open up for you to like drive in. It's very sweet. And then we ate a mono meal there. We brought our whole family, our kids, everybody, and we had like the most amazing mangoes. Everybody had something different, and the fruit was like
Off the chain.
It's 100% organic.
it just was really amazing. So I see what you created, and then he has a room, a space for yoga, and you know, to be able. I just remember that space being really, it's like a newer space.
It's about 7, 8 years old now. Yeah, it's a great question. So a lot of people, our clients have so far come from 149 countries. Okay? But needless to say, there are people in many countries where just traveling from where they live to Costa Rica, it breaks their budget. So I do guide people remotely. Okay, I do 3 group calls every day with a maximum of 6 clients on the call. We have a little community of like-minded people. The reason I got here later this afternoon instead of earlier today is because my last call was at noon. My last call so far, I have one more this evening. I had a noon call with clients in the US. I have an early morning call with clients in Europe, and I have a late night call with clients in Asia every day. Okay, and so I guide you through the process. You do need to have a blood pressure monitor, a thermometer. There's a few devices you have to have, but that's no big deal. Okay?
Yeah, Loren, I'm curious about 2 things. One is how do you measure the chloride, potassium, chloride you said, and
Sodium,
yeah.
potassium, and chloride.
Yeah.
How do we measure these levels? This is a blood test.
Right. Okay.
So again, we have people do it before they come to us.
Okay.
Hopefully this year we're going to buy a machine at several $1,000s so we can do them on site. We don't have the machine, which means we have a lab. If we need, we'll have someone come from the lab. We have a doctor on site, but they'll only test blood they take themselves. And so it's about $130 to have someone come and take your vitals. You pay for that, your electrolytes. If we need to do that, we rarely need to do that. But if we need to, we can get that done. What I'm hoping to do in the next year is not only get that machine, but I want to begin testing everything we can that's not invasive, so that we can begin publishing data and showing the world what's happening. Because it's amazing what happens, and most people don't believe it because there's no data.
And the last question, sorry, you said that you have a machine that you measure the hydration of people. I'm curious about that as well.
Yeah, so the device that measures hydration is called a bioimpedance device. Most of them are scales. Okay, there's other devices, but the majority of them are scales. You can buy one for about $50, but I wouldn't bother. Okay, because at that price, they're not going to be very good. Okay, if you want one for home, you want to spend about $150 or more. We have a $500 machine. It was invented back when the U.S. was in the first Gulf War, and the U.S. military wanted to make sure that service people were safe in desert conditions, weren't getting too dehydrated. So it was invented to measure hydration levels. And we've been using it now for about 19 years. Okay? Jamie, 2 more hours? What do you think? Yeah, yes, sir.
Do you drink water on a daily basis now that you've cleaned yourself, fasted so much, and eating a high water content diet? And if so, when throughout the day, and maybe how much?
Yeah. Okay. So the question was, do I drink water now that I've got my body clean on a daily basis? And the answer is yes. And the question was, when do I do it? And I know this is going to sound counterintuitive, but I do it when I'm thirsty. Okay. Here's the thing, though. Most people, by the time they experience thirst, they're actually in a much deeper state of dehydration. Okay? So I've learned a much more subtle signal that says my body needs something. And I drink probably a liter a day on average, and that's a lot more than it used to be, but I now spend 5 to 6 hours a day giving a lecture every day and talking with clients. So I'm talking a lot. Okay, because I do that, my throat gets a little dry. But the key is to get your body hydrated first so you can actually understand what real thirst feels like. And then you can simply listen to your body. Okay, most of the people I work with still need 3 to 4 liters a day until they get their body really clean. Okay, I'll take just 75 more questions. That's all.
What are your thoughts on a dry fast versus a water?
Yeah, you missed it. Dry fasting makes people severely dehydrated. I've known 5 people who are now dead as a result of dry fasting.
For a shorter period?
It's not good.
It makes no sense for any period of time. I mean, there's a whole bunch of mythology around it. There's no science to support any of it. Okay? The dry fasters will tell you when you dry fast, your body makes water. When your body's burning fat, it makes water. Okay? When you're fasting, it's making water. But most people cannot live on the metabolic water alone when they've got this giant sponge in there. It's not enough. Okay? So what I told the group earlier is every session we'll have about 30 people at a time. We'll have 3 or 4 people who've had a dry fasting practice. They're always the most dehydrated people on site. The next most dehydrated people, and this is surprising, are the fruitarians who don't drink any water because they think they're getting enough water from their food.
Yep.
Until that giant sponge is removed, it's not going to be enough. Okay, you still need to sip water.
What's the sponge?
What's that?
What's the giant sponge?
It's all the stuff you've eaten up until now in your life that wasn't high in both water and fiber.
Mucoid plaque.
After the sponge is the
sorry.
whole poop. Whole poop stuck inside of us.
What's your thoughts on pregnant women fasting, lactating women fasting, and then young kids and older kids?
Okay, so the question was, how about pregnant and lactating women? Is it okay if they fast? The answer is no. Fasting is much too strong a detox for a woman who's got a baby in the belly or who's breastfeeding, okay? Because it will affect the baby that way. So, ladies, if you want to have children and don't yet, you want to get your body clean before you get pregnant, okay? Not afterward. In terms of children, I'm staying in a client's house right now. They're on vacation. I've got the house to myself. So she's fasted with me. He's fasted with me once at Tanglewood. She's fasted with me 8 times now. Once at Tanglewood and 7 times remotely. And she does it remotely now because she has 2 little kids. When they came to Tanglewood, all 4 of them fasted, including the 6 and 8-year-old. Okay? My youngest client was 2.5. He was born with a heart defect. He only fasted 5 days. He only weighed 30 pounds. He'd been on medication his entire life at that point, for 2.5 years. He was off all medication for 3 or 4 months after fasting. His body was able to keep up without the drugs. Eventually had to go back on. No problem, any age. Yeah.
I'm wondering what you think about infrared sauna, every day
Uh-huh.
during all the dehydration. Even while fasting.
Well, I probably wouldn't recommend it while fasting. The question was if you didn't hear about infrared sauna. Is this okay to use? And is it okay while fasting? So first of all, infrared sauna is much better than regular sauna because it's much lower temperature. Okay? Infrared lamps do not heat the air, they heat only solid objects. Okay, and so an infrared sauna is usually much cooler than a regular sauna. The key is to make sure you have relatively new lamps because the old infrared lamps put out a ton of EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies. Okay? But the problem is if you're sweating in the sauna, you're losing electrolytes.
And I sweat.
You should not be sweating while you're fasting. You should stay, you can get sun up until you begin to get too hot or begin to sweat too much. Okay, you don't want to sweat. You don't want to lose electrolytes that way. Okay? I'll take 2 more. Any more questions? Yeah.
While you are on a water fast, is it okay to drink coconut water? Or is it has to be just water, H2O?
The question was, if you're on a water fast, can you drink coconut water? And the answer is no. Okay? Remember, fasting means no calories, no nutrients. Okay? Coconut water is liquid food. You're not fasting. Okay? Any other questions? Yeah.
How does smoking impact the fast?
How does smoking impact the fast? Well, it's kind of like punching yourself while you're trying to heal. Okay? I mean, I would say if you really want your health back, you have to get pretty serious about giving up smoking altogether. Because there's some evidence that smoking might be harmful to us. Okay? think we'll leave it there. Folks,
Raise your hand.
it's a real pleasure.